All right, everybody, on behalf of Trident Title, Synergy Title, and Performance Title, I want to welcome you guys to two things that you must communicate to your database for success in 2022. Today is going to be a nice, quick one, but the goal is to remind you how close we actually are to 2022. We're only 4 days away from the fourth quarter, which is super scary. And I want to give you two things to communicate, and I have both things in a bunch of different versions of scripts. So I'm going to share with you scripts in a bunch of different ways. So for those of you on the call that don't mind making phone calls, I got some phone call scripts. For those of you that are scared to death of the phone calls, I got some text and Facebook message scripts. And for those of you that are into the handwritten notes and direct mail and stuff like that, I got some, I guess we could still call them scripts for letters and handwritten notes for you guys to write. So we're going to touch on both of those today. And then I want to see you guys get these things in action. So those of you that I don't know, my name is Ryan McHugh. I work with Trident, Synergy, and Performance, helping you guys grow your business. I ran the #1 team in the state of Florida for a long time and one of the biggest real estate offices in Florida for another 4 or 5 years. And now all I do is spend time with you guys, helping you guys build your business. So if this is your first time on, I know I see a couple of new names, so welcome. We do these Zoom calls every Monday at 10 o'clock. And then we do in-person training events all over the state of Florida weekly. So if you ever want to join in or jump in on any of those, would love to have you. So without further ado, let us dive in here to two things that you must communicate to your database for success in 2022. All right, so scary, but 2022 is now less than 100 days away. Can't believe we are already at this last piece of the year. And as you guys know, this last part of the year, the fourth quarter usually flies. And most realtors, if you didn't know this, kind of take off once Halloween hits. And in my opinion, what's about to happen with board dues, if you guys didn't know, by the way, all of the realtor board and MLS fees and everything like that are due Friday. And for some of us, I know that's paid and done already. And for some of us, that's something that we need to pay attention to here. But what happens is, first of all, at this time of the year, we have a big exodus of realtors. So between now and the second week or so of October, which is when they actually cut people off, if you haven't made a payment yet on the dues, we'll have a lot of realtors exit the business. So a lot of people that were working deals all of a sudden don't have their license anymore. Or can't serve their clients anymore. And also what you'll always find is once Halloween starts coming around, from Halloween till the end of the year, realtors stop working. So if that's you that stops working, I'm hoping today motivates you a little bit. But for the rest of us, if you guys are spending time to learn something, you're most likely not the people that give up working. But what I want you to realize is when those people do stop working, it's a huge opportunity for the rest of us that are still working, right? It gives us an opportunity to be able to really grab some ground and to take some territory that we never have to give back. So over these next 100 days, I just want you to pay attention, because what you do these next 100 days kind of dictate your next piece of the year. So if either of these are you, I know a lot of us get scared of the phone or scared to get to work right now, and that is okay. Today's class really is to help you guys and to help those of you that want to have a better year in 2022. Because in real estate, one of the things we know is that we are always about 90 days away from getting paid when we really, start working. So if we start working today, we're getting paid at the end of the year. So those of you that are, hoping to have a good holiday season, really, we need to get to work now, because if we meet a lead today and it takes us, 30 to 45 days to get them qualified, find something, get everything together, and then another 45 days ish when we go under contract, we're right at the end of the year, right? So if you want to make 22 your best year ever, or if one of these is you, then I have a plan. So let's dive in. There's two things that you must ask your database before the end of the year if you want to not only finish this year strong, but really set yourself up for success in the next year. And here's the two of them. The first one is figuring out what everyone's make them move number is. So Zillow tried this a while ago and it never took off as much as they all expected to. But this is a huge, huge, huge amazing opportunity for a tactic for your database, because everybody does have a number, and with the market as crazy as it is, sometimes we can get that number. And one of the things, I don't know if you guys have heard, but rates actually are about to drop again. There's an opportunity or a chance that they might even go into the ones, which is crazy, before the end of the year and the early part of next year. And we have to figure out how we use that as an advantage for either of these two questions But the first one, for number one, I really want you to think of is how can you communicate with your database, finding out what it will take for them to move. And everybody has a thing, right? A lot of people say they're not moving until their kids are out of school, or until a certain life event or a certain date or time frame or something happens. But everybody has a number. So that's strategy one that we're going to talk about. And then strategy two is figuring out what people's real estate plans are for the next year. We need to figure out who's renting. We need to figure out who's thinking about buying or selling. We need to think about, if they're not doing any of those, what can we do to help them invest, to pull a deal out of there? Because there's great opportunities for us sitting around no matter what. And I'm going to give you the scripts, 3 scripts each for each of these that I want you to leave here with to go and actually put into action. So what would it take to make you move, right? This is number one. What would actually make you move? This is a key question that you need to be having with your database, not only at the fourth quarter, or right at the right down to the wire here, but this is something you should be doing all the time. If you're not doing it already, I'm going to kind of work through it. So here's a phone script for this, right? This is how it looks if you're talking on the phone. For the record, this is the one I would suggest you doing, either on the phone or in person. There's going to be other scripts and other opportunities that I give you guys, but this is the one that I would suggest. So you're going to say, "Hi, Joe Smith. It's Ryan over at XYZ Realty. I'm taking a quick survey and I figured I'd get your opinion. It is said that everyone has a number and I'm just curious what yours is. What would it take you to move in the coming year?" And they're going to say really one of 3 things, right? The first one is they're going to have a number in mind. And they're either going to say, a whole bunch of money, or they're going to say 10% over what my house is worth, or 15% over what my house is worth. Or most of them are going to say, "Well, honestly, I have no idea. Didn't think about it until you just asked me the question." Or they're going to say, "Well, we aren't moving until X, Y, or Z, until my kids finish college, until I retire, until I can afford something, until I finish paying off X or start paying off Y," or whatever. Usually going to have one of those 3. And no matter what, there's no wrong answer here, right? Whatever they put, we're going to make sure that we are tracking that in our database, and that goes in as a note. So we always know where to follow up and what to do. But then you're going to come back with something like this. And this is a long chunk here. So if you just take bits and pieces of this, it's okay. But I just want you to understand the idea here, right? So we're going to say, "Great, thanks so much for thinking about that." The reason I ask, because if you haven't heard, the real estate market is crazy and sellers are getting more than they ever thought they could for their house. On the flip side of that, with mortgage rates staying at or near all-time lows, and honestly, when I wrote this, it was before the 1% thing, daily affordability is becoming better than it ever has been. So for most of my clients, now is the time to get something done, even if they're unsure of what it takes or what it may take, or if they had a different timeline in mind. I'd love to help you take a deeper dive into your current situation to see which end of the market you can take advantage of right now. So we're trying to figure out, is it better for them to buy, sell, rent, whatever? Are you available for a quick meeting at your house today at 2 or tomorrow at 4 better? Ideally, we're trying to get to them, right? This is one of the ones we don't want in the office, because we want this to kind of double as a listing appointment, right? We want to get in there, start seeing that house. So if they think their house is worth, I don't know, or you think it's worth 350 and they think it's worth 375, if you're in their house, you have the opportunity to see if it's possible. And if it's in halfway decent shape and you do some good marketing and maybe clean it up a little bit, we all know there's a good chance that someone can overpay. So simple phone script, just to be calling through everyone in your database. If you're one of the people struggling with what to say to them, we need to make sure we get through the entire database in the fourth quarter. And if we're going to do that anyway, we might as well drum up some appointments, right? Now, for those of us that are scared to death of the phone, if you are just never going to pick up the phone and do this, just type "me" in the chat. No judgment. If you're just someone that's not going to call, just say "me" or say "I." I want to see how many people here are going to play along. Nobody. All right. That's what I figured. All right. So everybody's going to make this call. Great. Then we can just jump off this. Perfect. All right. So if you are going to make the call, great. I don't want to call anybody out. If not, here's a text one, right? Here's a text or a Facebook message script. Hey, whatever their name is, right? "Hey, Joe Smith, Ryan here. I don't know if you've heard, but the housing market is on fire right now. I've been helping a lot of my friends take advantage of it in ways that they had no clue were even possible. What would it take to make you move?" Right? So this is a lot shorter form, a lot simpler, a lot more basic. The goal here is just to be able to either send a text or send a Facebook message. All of you can do this. So if you're scared or worried about making the phone calls for whatever reason, nice and simple, nice and easy here. You can just kind of copy and paste this, right? A lot less formal, right? This is more of just a quick text or a quick message. You can even replace some of these things for the emojis, right? Swap out housing and put the little house emoji, swap out fire and put the little fire emoji. have some fun just to make this a little more informal, a little more casual, just to kind of see where they're at. If you're more of a handwritten note person or a letter person, here's another one. Hello, Joe Smith, whatever. I hope all is well with you and your family. Quick question. While the real estate market is on absolute fire, I have clients taking advantage of the hot sellers market to make more money than they ever thought was possible. And I also have buyers and investors getting in the game right now because affordability is so great thanks to the low mortgage rate. So I know you've been at your home for a while, however many years. If you know how long they've been there, you sold them the house or you looked it up or whatever. I know you've been at, 123 Main Street for 5 years, but what would it take for you to want to move? Just let me know your thoughts, as you'd be surprised what we can make happen right now. Talk to you soon. Right. So nice and simple, right? All three of these, same idea, same message, but the goal is figuring out what would it take to make them move. So whatever one you're comfortable with, whether it's a phone call, something quick, something easy. Hi, Joe Smith. It's Ryan over at XYZ Realty. I'm taking a quick survey and I figured I'd like to get your opinion. Said that everyone has a number. And I'm just curious what yours is. What would it take to make you move in the coming years? Whatever they say, you're just going to say, great, thanks so much for thinking about that. The reason I ask is because if you haven't heard, the real estate market is crazy and sellers are getting more than they ever thought they could get for their house. On the flip side of that, with mortgage rates staying at or near all-time lows, daily affordability is better than it has ever been. So for most of my clients, now is the time to get something done, even if they are unsure what it may take, or if they had a different timeline in mind. Love to help you take a deeper dive in your current situation and see which end of the market you can take advantage of right now. Are you available for a quick meeting at your house today at 2, or would tomorrow at 4 work better? Right. So nice and simple here. I saw someone ask if I'd give the scripts, and yeah, I'll put them in the Facebook group. So text or Facebook message script, again, nice and easy. Hey, Joe Smith, Ryan here. I don't know if you've heard, but the housing market is on fire right now. I've been helping a lot of my friends take advantage of it in ways that they had no clue were even possible. What would it take to make you move? Or the handwritten note script. Hello, Joe Smith. Hope all is well with you and your family. Quick question. While the real estate market is on fire, I have clients taking advantage of the hot sellers market to make more money than they ever thought was possible. I also have buyers, investors getting in the game right now while affordability is so great thanks to the low mortgage rates. I know you've been at 123 Main Street for X number of years, but what would it take for you to want to move? Let me know your thoughts, as you'd be surprised what we can make happen right now. Talk soon. All right, so these are easy to get out there. Ideally, we're going to hit our whole database with this, but especially people we've sold houses to in the last 5 years, really honestly in like the last 10 years, anywhere since the bottom. If we've sold them a house, this is good. Good for any random friends that we know, whoever we want to hit. This is the way to go. And if you can mix it up, great. Phone, great. Text, great. Handwritten note, whatever. But this gives you an opportunity in all 3 ways. All right, number 2, the second message that you need to get across to this database. The goal here is figuring out which one they're going to do, right? And the answer none doesn't work. We're trying to push them to either buy, sell, rent, or invest. And there's options for everybody, right? So we're obviously looking at how we can get a transaction out of all these, but some of these options are right now for everybody, right? It might be a good time to buy because they've been sitting on the fence, rates are low, and we're still thinking that prices are going to keep climbing. Might be a good time for them to sell because, as the market is high and the prices are high, of course, it's a good time to sell because they can get a bunch of money. It might be a better time for them to rent. Maybe they want to sell something and rent, because you just get those people that no matter what you say, they can't get out of that rental mindset where they would rather sell and rent. And I hear this happening all the time, where people just want to wait and see what happens, right? And if that's them and there's nothing you're going to say to convince them, whatever, get a rental or re-up their lease or whatever it is. Or invest. This is the big one that people are missing right now. If they say, listen, I'm staying in my home, my kids are in school here for 10 more years and I can't move, or I don't want to move, or it doesn't make sense to move, then the opportunity for you to grab a deal out of that is not just to give up and say, all right, I hope I'm still in the business. Maybe I'll talk to you in 10 years. The goal is switching them to an investor mindset, right? Over the last couple of years, if they've been in the house that they're in 2 or 3 years, guess what? The market has gone up and given them more equity than 15%, right? Some markets have gone up 15% in 1 year, some little pockets. The average lately over the last couple of years has been 7, 8, 9, 10%, really over the last 2 years. So when we look at that and we say, okay, if they've made, let's just say 7, maybe 8%, they've made 7% in 21, 7% in 20, let's just say they made 5% in 19, whatever. We put those things together and we're somewhere between like 18 and 20% that they've made just in equity, right? So if they're going to stay in their house and they're just not going to move, then the option is to get them to refi some of that money out and invest in something else, a cash flowing asset. And guess what? That gets you guys another transaction, right? So we can't just always give up and not think outside of the box on when people say, well, I'm not moving for 5 years because my kids are here, right? They've built the equity in the house already to be able to invest. You only need 15% down to be able to do an investment loan. We need to work on taking advantage of that because there's opportunity just sitting out there and there's money to be made, especially with rates still being low. And affordability is still high, even though prices are high. There's still opportunity sitting around here. So phone script. Hey, Joe Smith, it's Ryan over at XYZ Realty. Just wanted to check in with you before the end of the year. This is me assuming, right, that you guys are going to do this somewhere between now and the end of the year. I realize we leave this call and everyone's not going to be able to call their whole database in a day, right? So this is like over the fourth quarter. This is a script to use. Hey, Joe Smith, it's Ryan over at XYZ Realty. Just wanted to check in with you before the end of the year. Wish you and your family a happy new year and see what your real estate plans are for 2022. With the market being so crazy, just want to make sure I'm ahead of the curve for all my friends, so that if they need something, I can be on the hunt for things both on market and off that may help. So are you planning to buy, sell, rent, or invest in 2022? Right? And then you're going to be quiet and they're going to say one of two things. They're either going to say one of those four answers, right? They're saying, oh, we're looking to buy, we need to sell, we're going to just rent again, or we're thinking about investing. Great. Or they're going to say, honestly, none of those, we're just staying put to see what happens. And you're going to say, great, what made you choose that? Or what made you say that? And see what they do. And then the goal here is just to get face-to-face, right? I'd love to get with you the next day or two for coffee or a beer or whatever you're into and chat for 15 minutes so that we can create a custom plan for you to make sure that you have the best foot forward with how insane the market is. Does tonight at happy hour or tomorrow after work make more sense for you, right? So a quick close to get them face-to-face to come up with a plan that's kind of custom to them, right? Because we're opening up a broad question here and we're saying, when do you want to do this? In 2022, great. Well, 2022, if they want to do a transaction, in theory, they should be probably starting in like late October, early November, or it could be going all the way through the end of 2022. So it's like a 14-month window. And that's way too big, right? We want to nail that down. We want to know, do they have a lease that's up? Do they have an amount of money that they want to get spent, or maybe something that they can invest in? Whatever it might be, we want to get this stuff figured out. Maybe tax time is the right time because they're going to get a refund. So they'll have a little bit of a little chunk of money, whatever it might be. It doesn't matter. But we're trying to use this as a way to get that custom plan built, which is just a face-to-face appointment, needs analysis, to figure out what it is that they actually need. All right, text or Facebook message. Yo, right? This is what I would say. Yo, Ryan here. Just wanted to check in and see what your real estate plans are for 2022. The market being so amazing, I was just curious if you plan on buying something, selling, or investing in a cash flowing rental property, right? So simple text or Facebook message. If you wouldn't say yo or my first line, change it to whatever, it doesn't matter. But just again, very informal. The goal of the text or the Facebook message is that it's more of a person that you have a relationship with already, or you're just trying to connect with. So nice and informal. And then we're going to go back to a handwritten note or a letter script, right? Hey, Joe Smith, the crazy thing, they were already at the end of 2021. Real estate has been insane the last 2 years. I want to make sure all my friends are taking advantage of this amazing market. Sellers are getting top dollar and cashing out equity. Buyers are seeing more affordability now than ever. And investors are seeing dream returns. So which one do you plan on doing in 2022? Buying, selling, or investing? Let me know so we can get together and build a custom plan to fit your needs, and that ensures you are successful in 2022. All right, so again, with this strategy, we're trying to figure out which one they're going to do, and none is not an acceptable answer, right? So we're pushing for buy, sell, rent, or invest. Again, what are your plans for 2022? The phone script. Hey, Joe Smith, it's Ryan over at XYZ Realty. Just wanted to check in with you before the end of the year. Wish you and your family a happy new year. See what your real estate plans are for 2022. The market being so crazy, I wanted to make sure I'm ahead of the curve for all my friends so that if they need something, I can be on the hunt for things both on market and off. That may help. So are you planning to buy, sell, rent, or invest in 2022, right? The dots are pauses. That's making sure you kind of pause and set the hook there. They're going to answer however they answer, and you're going to say, great. What made you choose that one? Love to get with you in the next day or two for coffee or a beer and chat for 15 minutes so that we can create a custom plan for you to make sure that you have the best foot forward with how insane this market is. Does tonight at happy hour, tomorrow after work make more sense for you? Whatever times you put in there, don't ask them when works for you. You want to close them and give them two options, right? Which one works better for you, today at 2 or tomorrow at 4? If you say, when can you meet? They'll say, well, I'll check my schedule and I'll get back to you, right? And then they never get back to you. So close them here And while you're setting the hook and it's hot in their mind, you want to close them for today or tomorrow. You don't want to book an appointment for, 3 Saturdays from now because they ain't showing up, right? We want to do it right now. And I like to use coffee or happy hour or a beer or a cocktail or coffee, whatever you're into, because it makes it more informal and it's a better chance of you actually getting the appointment, right? If you say, hey, I'll meet you at whatever your favorite brewery is, this afternoon after work or at happy hour, there's a better chance of you getting that appointment than if you plan 2 weeks down the road with an appointment at their house. So it's okay to be informal with some of these to be able to close them on the appointment. The goal is, that happy hour cocktail or coffee or whatever ends up costing you like less than $10 for a face-to-face appointment with an opportunity to see what the plan is for real estate. And then it's yours to lose from there. Again, the text script, nice and informal. Yo, Ryan here. Just wanted to check in and see what your real estate plans are for 2022. With the market being so amazing, I was just curious if you plan on buying something, selling, or investing in a cash flowing rental property. And then the handwritten note script again. Hey, Joe Smith. Crazy to think they're already at the end of 2021. Real estate has been insane the last 2 years. And I want to make sure all my friends are taking advantage of this amazing market. Sellers are really getting top dollar and cashing out some equity. Buyers are seeing more affordability now than ever. And investors are seeing dream returns. So which one do you plan on doing in 2022? Buying, selling, or investing? Let me know so we can get together and build a custom plan to fit your needs that ensure you a successful 2022. Talk soon. All right, in summary, these are the two, right? It would be great if you get both of these out by the end of the year. But if not, just pick one that's more you, right? Whichever one you think is more you, go for it. If you're more heavy on the what's to make me move, if they own, really, if they own and that they've owned for a couple of years, I want you to steer more towards number one. If you're not sure if they own, if they rent, or they're newer to your database, or you don't have that good of a relationship with them yet, then I want you to steer more towards number two. And you can kind of sprinkle both of these in together to put together a plan. But there's no reason that everyone in your database shouldn't get one of these by the end of the year, right? We have I think it's like 97 or 98 days or something like that left in the year. There's absolutely no reason why you guys can't do this. Do a couple a day, every day. And again, if you're not making the calls and you're just using text or Facebook message, it's something, just do a lot of it, right? So if you have thousands of people in your phone or on Facebook, make sure they all get it. Don't look at them and say, well, I'm scared. I haven't talked to this person in a while. I don't really know that person. Who cares, right? If you send it to them and they don't answer, they block you, what does it make a difference, right? It doesn't really matter. So you want to use this as your fourth quarter system to be able to get through the database. And then next year, once we start the system, this allows you to kind of put them on that once a quarter call plan or touch plan, because you've made that first introduction or reintroduction now and kind of reignited that relationship. So make sure you're doing at least one of these and at least one style. If the calls are not for you, use the text. If the text's not for you and you want to do a handwritten note, go right ahead. Whatever it is, do one of them or a balance of all three of the strategies. As always, thank you guys for your business at Trident Performance and Synergy. We appreciate it. Carrie, thank you as always for the slides and making everything look nice. Coming up Thursday at 4, we're going to have a Better Call Paul, and then we're going to have a week off and then start it back up on a more regular basis in October. Monday at 10, the gold is in the old. We're going to do an old expired strategy and script for you. So join us next Monday at 10. And then all throughout the fourth quarter, we have business planning workshops coming to you guys. We're going to be doing a handful of them in person, and we will probably throw a couple in on Zoom, but trying to do them in person as much as the situation in the world allows. So just chat with your offices, your brokers, your team leaders, other people that you work with. We have most of them scheduled already. October is already scheduled, and scheduling these into November as well. If you're looking to have a solid year, you need to make sure you get to that business planning workshop. And I will see you guys next time. If you need anything or if you want the replay, that's my email. I'll leave this on the screen for a couple minutes before we break. Add me on Facebook, jump in my Facebook group. If you're not in the Facebook group, every Sunday I post the links for the upcoming week. So if you're not getting the emails or can't figure out how to get on, as long as you're in the Facebook group, you'll get it all the time. And I will also get the scripts and the stuff from today into that Facebook group eventually. There's been a problem with Facebook uploading into that files section. So the last thing we did, couldn't get it on there because they just wouldn't allow it to happen. So if anybody has any questions or anything, let me know. Stacy, I'm not going to email the scripts, but I'll put them in the Facebook group. Rashad, If there's a specific recorded session that you want or that you missed, let me know and I'll get it to you. I have like a personal library of them. Everyone that said thank you, you're welcome. Hope everybody has a good day. And if anybody has any questions, I will hang on for a minute or two. If anybody has anything